the first time round, I said to her, "What do you want for caddying?" As soon as we finish top 10, normally the caddies would get 10% or something like that. She's like, "Oh, well, I think I'll have a new microwave." So I'm like, "Well, fine, that's all right." Yeah. And then it escalated. There was something else with the next thing, and then we won in South Africa. She's like, "Can I get a new car?" I'm like, "That's gone from microwave to car really quickly, hasn't it?" So I ended up buying her a new car.
All right, welcome to Fourball. Today we have a guest that needs no introduction, Lee Westwood, won 44 times worldwide, former world number one. Thanks for sitting down and joining us today.
Thank you, my pleasure.
Yeah, so we have the show that Bill and I are hosting called Fourball, and we go through each guest's dream Fourball. Where obviously it's going to include yourself, but we have a few categories that we go through too. You want to run through those with us?
So we have someone who means a lot to you, someone who you admire in their craft, and then also a add-in celebrity guest that you would choose.
Yeah, so we're interested to see who you're going to pick and just go through some stories here. But let's just jump into you real quick and talk about this first player, obviously yourself. Talk to us a little bit about your game right now, how things are going for you.
Um, I've just come off 4 weeks off, so it could be a little bit rusty, but it feels in pretty good shape. What is this, my 30th season as a professional, so nothing much really changes anymore. I don't really make too many swing changes. It's pretty consistent. I'm healthy again. I had a problem with my left knee, but that's good again now. So I've been hitting quite a lot of balls and looking forward to this week. This is always a golf course I play pretty well at, feel comfortable on.
Yeah, it's beautiful venue, great weather. So 30 years professionally, golfers tend to be creatures of habit. Have you pretty much have the same routine that you've had for many years, or
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's really the secret to golf, doing the same thing the same way over and over again. It's all about repetition. So, yeah, practice, gym routines, stuff like that. I try and keep as consistent as I can. And, if you can keep all the variables down to a minimum, it's easier to figure out what's wrong with, your performance, whether it's your swing or, where the way your body's moving or, easier to know what to work on.
yeah? So with Majestics GC, you guys have three co-captains. Uh, how does that work? Kind of walk us through that process.
So we've got myself, Ian, and Henrik. So really, it works well because we share the load. If we kind of take it in turns each week to do the captaincy duties, and not one person does it every week. So it's like I said, we share the load and the work.
So Lee, you have your wife Helen caddying for you. She's the only female caddy currently.
We need to
Uh,
change that, don't we?
we do. I mean, she's doing it for the girls. How did that come about?
So she caddied for me the first time a few years ago in Abu Dhabi. But Billy Foster was caddying for me at the time. Unfortunately, his father passed away, so he couldn't come to the tournament. And Helen said, "Well, I'll do it." So I was like, "All right." I wasn't worried about her carrying the golf bag around. I was worried about me doing the yardages and trying to figure the wind out and stuff like that because I'd relied on Billy so heavily. So I don't know if you've seen on my clubs, I write the yardages on the back. That was the first week that ever happened because I couldn't be bothered trying to remember how far I hit every club. So I put that on there, and we went pretty well the first week. I think we finished top 10, about 7th, 8th. And obviously Helen thought it was all her. So later on in the year, we decided to do it again. And we went to Denmark to play a tournament, and I lost in a playoff. And then the third time was later on that year. We went to Sun City, and I won the Nedbank. So her first 3 events were she didn't finish outside the top 10. It was like 8th, lost in a playoff, win. So yes, quite a start to a caddying career. I've dropped off a little bit since then, but apparently that's me. It's not nothing to do with her.
Obviously,
Yeah.
yeah. What's her caddying style like? I mean, she must be very strong to carry that bag.
She is very strong. How I wouldn't want to carry that golf bag around, especially around here with all these hills. Um, but she makes sure that I thin the golf bag out so I'll have less stuff in there. And I remember at Sun City that third time, one of the rounds I think it was the first round, I hadn't used a 7-iron, and she looks at me on the range afterwards or on the yeah, afterwards, and she goes, "You didn't use your 7-iron at all today. Do we really need it for tomorrow?" Like, well, I better carry it. And funnily enough, I hit one of my best shots of the week on the 71st hole with a 7-iron into that green. and then hold up for birdie to take a 3-shot lead down the last. And I said, "See, good job we were carrying the 7-iron, isn't it?"
Well, it's good quality time together.
It is. Yeah, and it's nice that she gets to come and see firsthand, what I do. And she's also a very good psychologist. Clearly she's not had the golf knowledge over as many years as a lot of the other caddies, but she does know psychologically how my brain works, how what makes me tick, and we talk about other things on the golf course other than just golf, which kind of gets me out of the thinking about golf all the time. So I'm more relaxed out on the golf course.
Well, she must know you better than anyone. How do you repay her for these hard efforts?
So the first time round, I said to her, "What do you want for caddying?" As soon as we finished top 10, normally the caddies would get 10% or something like that. She's like, "Oh, well, I think I'll have a new microwave." So I'm like, "Well, fine, that's all right." Yeah. And then it escalated. There was something else with the next thing, and then we won in South Africa. She's like, "Can I get a new car?" I'm like, "That's gone from microwave to car really quickly, hasn't it?" So I ended up buying her a new car.
Well deserved. So it sounds like there's a ton of positives with her being on the bag and bringing you guys together, kind of keeping your mind off some stuff. Are there any negatives of having her on the bag that you found? Does it carry over like off the course, like bring work home too much or no?
Not really. No, I've been doing this too long to take it home with me. I'm pretty good at switching off and forgetting about the golf, and we go back into, well, we're still husband and wife mode on the golf course, but we go back into just you know normal husband and wife mode away from the course. So yeah, it works really well, and you can see how sort of light-hearted I am here talking about it, and when we're on the golf course, it keeps me fairly light-hearted out there. I'm not so serious, and I find it easier to shake off the bad shots. And the nice thing about it is, with me doing all my own yardages, I'm never confused by somebody else's opinion. Occasionally, she'll say, like, "Is it a 5?" And I'll go, "No." "Is it a 6?" I go, "Getting closer." "Is it a 7?" She's like, she thinks that's good that she got it right third time lucky.
That's awesome. So, when we started this up, talked about winning 44 times worldwide, former world number one. I mean, you've had so many accomplishments in your career. What would you say stands out the most to you that you're most proud of?
I think getting to world number one. I think when you can, there's nothing kind of past that or better than that. You can sit down and as world number one, it feels like a great accomplishment to be able to say that there's nobody else better in the world than you at what you do.
It's a
So
hell of an accomplishment.
yeah, when you've worked at it for so long, to actually reach that pinnacle is really special. Obviously, sorry, go on.
I can't believe when you did it too, you ousted Tiger Woods. He was world number one.
Yeah, Tiger was the number one at the time, and I'd had a good year that year. I'd finished second in a couple of major championships, and I was coming off a run of lots of top threes and top fives in majors and winning tournaments. So yeah, it takes a lot to get to world number one. It's a lot harder than everybody realizes. But not a lot of people have got there. So
No, and you held it for over 20 weeks as well. So yeah, no, it's incredible. So I mean, any fun stories or competitive moments during that run when you dethroned Tiger as world number one that just stands out to you, just the
I,
top of your game?
I was actually not playing the week that I went to world number one. There was a tournament on here, and I think Martin Keimer had to finish top five or something like that to get to world number one. And if he didn't do that, then I would go to world number one. And I was actually at home walking around a supermarket doing shopping. And I was looking at the internet and seeing how Martin was getting on, and he made the cut, and I think he finished about 40th or something like that. And so I went to world number one. So when he'd finished his round, my dad rang me and he went, "You've gone to world number one."
Wow. Do anything
And I was
special to celebrate that?
buying rubber gloves or potatoes or something like that in Sainsbury's.
That's pretty funny.
So you play a lot of sports and you're a big fan of football. Your team is Nottingham Forest.
That's right.
They haven't been
Don't
relegated.
laugh.
No, I'm
You
not. Let me stop.
you must figure in there and don't laugh.
We saw the look on her face.
Why Nottingham Forest and how's your team doing?
So they're doing really well. They got promoted from the Championship a couple of seasons ago. Last year was the first year in the Premier League for, oh, 25 years or something like that. Um, I was at the game in 1999 when they went up, and then I was at the playoff game at Wembley when they went up this time, and it was a long time kind of between drinks. Um, and Yeah, they stayed up quite comfortably last season. I thought it'd go down to the last 10 minutes of the last game, and we did it with a game to go. So the final week of the season was really really calm for me. I wasn't under any kind of stress. They stressed me more than playing golf, I've got to add. So yeah,
How would you feel about putting your Majestics teammates in a football team? What positions would you put them in?
well, I mean, Stenson, he's
He looks fast.
he's a bit no, he doesn't no, completely opposite to me. He's got that Peter Schmeichel look about him, and he should be a goalkeeper. Big, intimidating goalkeeper.
I can see it.
Yeah. Poltz, tall, wide shoulders, kind of that centre back look. Laurie Cantor, young, midfield engine, and I think I'd probably play up front. I'd be the goal scorer.
Be the star.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're the first member of the Fourball, naturally. Who are you picking for someone who means a lot to you to play second?
Yeah, so I picked my son, Sam, who's just turned professional. He's given it a go for a few years, see how good he can get. I picked him because he is going through exactly the same things that any lad turning or girl turning professional would go through, I guess. The doubts, the knocks. You don't always play well. So many different challenges. Such a mental game. Taking it from the range to the golf course. And just some of the stuff he comes out with. I just smile and kind of. I end up saying to him, "This is nothing new. You're just experiencing everything else that anybody's experienced."
Well, he's very lucky to have you on the team. I mean, if anyone
Well, I
knows
mean,
a thing,
it can work positively and negatively, can't it? He can come to me for advice. It's very difficult for sons to listen to dads. I know I was like listening to my dad. You know, it went in, but it didn't. It went in one ear and out the other. Um, and I can put a good team around him of coaches and physios and stuff like that. But unfortunately, a lot of people also sit him next to me and, compare the two of us, which is not really fair. He should try and be the best Sam Westwood that he can be. He's just starting on the journey. I'm coming towards the end of the journey, I guess, and, been successful at the game and world number one. So that would be too much to try and never, kind of live up to. I keep telling him, just try as hard as you can all the time. Just try and be the best person that you can be and, see where it goes from there.
so he's 22, made his pro debut last year.
Yeah.
What advice are you giving him?
Well, I try and be realistic with him because he started the game very late. He only really started playing when he was 16, um, and then he went to university for 3 years in Newcastle, so he didn't play full-time golf. A lot of the kids that are turning pro, they'll start at 8, 9 years of age, and they'll be playing, full-time golf from the age of 13, 14 for England teams and things like that, and in national competitions. He didn't have any of that, so he's really behind the 8 ball before he starts. So, I've told him, not to put too much pressure on himself and not to worry if things don't go right at first. Just keep working on his game. And golf's strange like that. All of a sudden, something just clicks. He's got enough natural talent to do okay in the game, and as long as he enjoys it, and you've got to enjoy not just playing competitions. You've got to enjoy the grind of, getting up in the morning and going in the gym, and then wanting to go on it 500 balls on the range in the afternoon and work on your short game and all that and work with psychologists, the stuff that people don't see. That's where you really make inroads into, how good you can become doing all the hard work.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a lot of good insight. Because that was one of the questions I had was, what advice would you give to not someone who wants to become a professional golfer, but someone that like myself, got a young son, like, how do you get them into that mindset to become a pro golfer or to a pro athlete for that matter? And do you push a sport on them? That could be detrimental. Sometimes it could backfire on you. And you're getting an age that makes sense. Like I've heard from so many people like, oh yes, as soon as possible or as soon as they really grasp it or maybe start later.
I think they can be forced into it too young a lot of the time. I think, especially with a game like golf where, you get a lot of knocks, you spend a lot of time alone, people can start resenting the game. You've got to really love it a lot to go and, do the hard work. The thing I say with people that have got kids that, want to get into it, I say take them for lessons straight away. Get them into good habits. Don't have them standing on the range just swinging at it, developing bad habits. Get the fundamentals in place with a qualified coach, and then build from there, and just make it fun. Don't have them standing there for 2, 3 hours hitting balls. Play little games all the time around the chipping green, because it's not it's not a game of playing a good swing. It's a game of playing golf. There's a lot of swings out on that range. If you go out and look, there's a lot of different ways of doing it. You've got somebody like, I guess, Bubba or Matt Wolf that's got, you couldn't call them anywhere near orthodox, could you? But they're still world class players. And then you've got other players that the swing just looks beautiful, and that's their way of doing it. So it's different. There's a big difference between being a great striker of the golf ball and being able to go around a golf course in 65. It takes a lot more than just looking good.
Yeah. Did you step in to do some of those lessons yourself? Because I mean, you see some other players that their fathers still teach them today, and
Yeah.
they're out on the weekly on the tour out here with them, and I that's amazing to me because I feel like it'd be hard, like you mentioned, sometimes it's tough to, like, listen to your dad. It goes in one ear out.
It is, and that's a problem. So, if he comes to me and asks me what I think, then I'll tell him, but I won't force my ideas on him. Anybody who's ever seen me do a clinic at a corporate thing or anything like that will know that I've ruined more golfers than I've made better. I'm like one of the world's worst coaches.
I was gonna say,
So,
you were the first pro that I played in a program, and you gave me bunker tips.
yeah, the bunker game's really
Yeah.
good. I'm good at giving bunker lessons,
Okay.
but as far as, no, don't ruin it now.
The lessons paid off that
Don't
way?
spoil it.
I'm really good at bunkers, yeah.
Like 99% up and downs. We'll just leave it there. But I know what you see. The thing with professional golf is you're out on a golf course all the time on your own. You've got to be able to fix your own golf swing, and I'm really good at fixing my own golf swing, but I'm not good at imparting that knowledge on anybody else.
Okay, that's it.
I end up just teaching them what I'm working on, which, if you go to somebody like Pete Cowan, who I work with,
Uh-huh.
he teaches everybody differently. We'll tailor make his teaching and putting it across for that individual,
Yeah.
whereas I'm just telling you what I'm working on. So that's no good.
I mean, it's the opposite of, like, people say, "Hey, those that can't do teach," but you can do what you can't teach, so, yeah. So, one thing I was gonna ask you is he's also caddied for you a few times, right? So, is that something that you kind of just make, a staple of your family? You gotta put every member on the bag eventually, and this,
Well,
Poppy got feature
yeah,
on the
but
bag?
my daughter's not done it yet. But yeah, Sam caddied a few times. He caddied round here actually. We finished fourth round here, and he caddied for me at the Ryder Cup as well.
Okay.
So yeah, we've had lots of good moments out on the golf course when he's been caddying for me.
How would you rate his caddy skills?
Pretty good actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, he just starts to make strange noises when the pressure gets on. Though he starts to kind of start clicking. Goes, uh, and I look at him like, "Are you nervous?" Because I'm not.
Yeah.
But I will be if you carry on with that clicking.
So all of the captains of Majestics have young sons who play golf. Do you have like family days out?
We should do, shouldn't we? We should have a father-son at the end of the season. Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah.
And film it.
Yeah. I mean, you guys all your guys' sons are great golfers.
Yeah,
Very
pretty good,
competitive,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
probably gotta take over the, baton here, in the future for the
Get us out of the
Majestics.
way and move the
Let's
youngsters
get the
in.
young bucks in there,
Yeah.
so to get pretty competitive and, heated on the course sometimes. You guys play your matches against each other?
As a team, or
No,
me
just
and
with your
Sam?
son. Yeah, with you and Sam.
Well, no, because I always win, so that doesn't get too heated.
Has he beat you before?
Not off levels, no.
Okay.
I've given him shots and he's beat me.
Okay.
But he's starting to hit it too far now. He hits it past me, but he hits a good one. So if we're playing and he hits a long one, I pull the 3-wood out and hit the 3-wood down there, and he's just like, "Dad." I'm like, "No, it's strategy this. I'm playing strategically now.
Gotta protect the ego.
Lay back. I'm the first one to play in."
Okay, so the third member that's going to be in this Fourball is someone who you admire in their craft. Who are you going to pick?
So I picked Frankie Dettori. Um, we've known each other for a long time now, probably getting on for 25 years. Frankie plays golf. I love horse racing. Frankie's ridden a couple of horses for me. Um, and I love his passion for his sport. And, he's one of the greatest jockeys ever to live. His longevity is amazing. He's still riding to the highest level now, and he's 53. Um, and when you when you look at horse racing, when Frankie retires from horse racing, horse racing it won't be such a good place. He kind of carries the sport on his shoulders. He's got this energy and uh, enthusiasm, charm, um, and he's just great to watch. Everybody loves him. He's a great showman.
Do you have any favorite memories together? Any good stories
Um,
that you can
we
reveal
we
publicly?
we played a few rounds together, and I remember we were playing in a pro-am once. At I think it was Woburn in the British Masters. We were playing in the morning, and we had to play in the morning because he was flying off to ride at Yarmouth in the afternoon. And I said, "You must be a good horse at Yarmouth." He said, "Oh yeah, we're gonna win this afternoon. It's a great horse like that." So we finished the prime round, and we go down to the bookies and have a few quid on it. And it came in. It was a four-runner race, and it came in last of four by a long way. And that's typical of jockeys. They're the worst at giving out tips. So So not only had we got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to play a pro-am so he could ride in the afternoon, but we'd done our money in on him as well.
Well, it's probably you've worn him out.
Oh,
It's a big day, no?
I'd say the horse looked worn out, not him.
What's his golf game like?
His game's pretty good. Yeah, yeah. A lot of those jockeys when they're off, say riding in Dubai or somewhere like that, they play a lot of golf. So Frankie's no different. I played in Dubai with him, and yeah, when they're not riding out in the morning, they go in the afternoon and play golf. So there's a few of them pretty good.
You ever thought about doing a copy of the Flying Dismount?
Yeah, I've not quite got the body for it, and the knees aren't as strong as they used to be. I'm gonna use that as an excuse. It's nothing to do with the extra weight that I carry. Listen, he rides at about 9 stone. It's easy to do it at 9 stone.
Okay.
I've been on a horse a few times because Helen rides, so she got me a horse, and I went from pointing in that direction to pointing in that direction really quickly, and none of it was to do with me. So
Yeah.
you know, there's two brains at work there, me and the horse, and I knew that this brain wasn't in control. That brain was just gonna do whatever it wanted to do.
Yeah. It's not easy.
No, no, it's, unless you know what you're doing, and when people do know what they're doing, they look really good on a horse, but when you don't know what you're doing, you just look uncomfortable and ungainly, and that's me.
Horses sense fear as well. You gotta
Yeah,
take
yeah,
control.
and never mind sense my fear, you probably could smell it.
Maybe you were clicking like a horse, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, pretty sure I was.
So you actually own a couple of horses
I'm
for
involved
racing
in
purposes?
nearly 20.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand. Yeah.
Why? What is it that you
I
love
just
about
love it, like we were talking, like, people like jockeys and footballers and rugby players and cricketers, they all go and play golf in their off time. Well, I like to go and play social golf, but I also like to get away from it. And, there's not many sports that, I couldn't go and play football or rugby or some cricket or something like that. I'd probably get injured. So you know, horse racing is one of those things where I can have a day out and I can have a day out with the family and go and watch the racing. We were at Ascot recently for 3 days. I had one runner there which didn't run very well, but still, it's taking in the whole thing. You get dressed up with the top hat and tails, and to some of them. I love Cheltenham in March. I've got jumps horses. Love going down there and having a few pints of Guinness and watching the racing. It's a great social atmosphere and a good way of getting away from what I do day in, day out.
over 20 horses that you own?
It's at about 20 now.
Wow,
So,
that sounds expensive. I'm glad you're a good golfer, at least.
yeah,
Or
well, they eat while you're asleep, so, yeah, it gets expensive.
but they've been winners?
Yeah, but quite a lot of winners, yeah, yeah. The last one, this season, so it was a few weeks back, they called it Eligible, that won at York. So that one's won about three times this year. So it's been a pretty good year, yeah.
What is something they don't tell you about owning a horse that you found out?
Uh,
Anything surprising?
the training fees, they don't tell you how expensive they are, and the vet's bills.
But a fun passion nonetheless and a good
Yeah, I love it, yeah, yeah, and, when I do get a chance, I like to go, out to the gallops, watch them work out in the morning, not just going to the racing, so, yeah, it's good fun. I love horses as well, so,
Do you have horses at home?
not where we live, but, Helen and Edie, my stepdaughter, that they've got some horses, but they show jump, you see, so They so it's more than 20. So there's some, yeah. When you pull them all together, it's probably about 24.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So third player in the Fourball is Frankie Dettori. Who are you picking as your fourth member, a celebrity that you love?
I picked Ronan Keating. So we've known each other a long, long time, once more, kinda grown up together. Um, I first met him in Ireland years ago, late '90s, and, we got on well, and, um, he's a keen golfer. I always I was ribbing because he was in Boyzone, and I said, whenever I'm asked who my favorite band is, I always put "Take That" down. So for this, I would put Gary Barlow, but Gary doesn't play golf, so I put Ronan Keating down instead. Um,
What's his golf game like?
his game's pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah, he's keen, and, we played in the Dunhill together, um, unsuccessfully. We've not made the cut, but we have a good time,
Okay.
and we were skiing in April for my 50th birthday. He loves to get me up singing, doing backing vocals for him because he knows what a great voice I've got.
Are you gonna share that with us tonight or
No, no.
no?
It's online somewhere. You can Google it.
Definitely going to be doing that right after
Yeah.
this, yes.
So for people who don't know, if there are any people who don't know, Boyzone was a very popular boy band in the late 90s. Would you say that boy bands are your guilty pleasure, Lee? If it is guilty,
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't be guilty about it, but, I like all kinds of music, I've got to be honest. Um, I listen to anything. Um, I'm not 80s mainly because of my age. Love the 80s.
We talked to Bubba Watson, and he was part of the Golf Boys group, but
Yeah,
with this new
nobody
this
can
love
unsee
for
that, can they? Eh?
yeah, I
Nobody
mean, you
can
can't
unsee that.
unsee it, but I'm thinking now, like,
With that
Majestic
hairy
60s,
chest
we
in
need to
the
see some boy band come
yeah.
out here. I mean, you gotta lead the way. I think that'd be kinda fun to see. Then the world can hear that voice, that
I'm
you're hiding.
50 years old, it'd have to be a man band, wouldn't it?
It would have to be a man, but that's cool.
there's demand for that, Lee.
I'm
Go
sure
for it.
there is, yeah, I'm sure there is. But you've got to hold a little bit back so you leave people wanting. So that's just something that we'll have to think a long way down the line.
So you guys listen to music when you're playing with each other on the course, and does he listen to his own music, or what's the vibe like?
He should come out here, shouldn't he? Because there's music on all the time.
They should
We
actually.
just only play Boyzone the whole
Yeah, yeah, I'll take that just to wind in.
So he does have a reputation for being a nice guy, but when coming out on the course, obviously if you're playing bad, it sounds like he's a good player or anything like that. Does he have a temper or
Not too much of a temper. I think, golf probably winds everybody up, doesn't it,
it
at some
does?
point?
Yeah.
So,
Very
yeah, he does get wound up, but, he's not a club snapper. Um, no, um, but he doesn't need to. He played pretty well.
Okay, well, Lee, to review your Fourball that you've got going, you've got yourself, your son, Sam Westwood, Frankie Dettori, and Ronan Keating.
Yeah.
Pretty good Fourball.
We would have a good game, yeah.
Where are you going to play this game, and what conditions would you like to pick?
Would have to be nice, sunny conditions. Um, because I don't play in the rain anymore unless I'm forced to. And
fair weather. Yeah.
yeah, a nice day on a links course. How about Kings Barnes or somewhere like that? Yeah.
Sorry.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Lee, for joining us.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, always a pleasure, man. Good luck this
Yeah,
week, the
yeah.
rest of the season.
Yeah. I'll do a little bit of singing for you if you look at
If
that.
you wouldn't mind just concluding with a little,
Yeah, take us out with a song.
yeah, maybe just do like a Majestics.
When you're up on the podium, after this week, you can perform for everybody.
Like I say, you can probably see it online, but you'll never unsee it.
Thanks, Lee.